today? How are you today? I'm Both Reviews Lady. Thank you very much for coming to my channel for the first time, or for maybe you've been here before. I don't know. Anyways, I like to talk about fragrance and skincare and cosmetics and flowers and the occasional something else. But today, I'm going to talk about the amazing daffodil. Smell it! Smell it! Get your nose up in there! Get your nose in there! Smell it! I'll do it for you. Mmm. 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 It smells so good. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the daffodil flower and some perfumes that contain daffodil. Well, not exactly daffodil. As I went in looking, I discovered there's more than meets the eye to daffodil fragrances. Now these came from my garden, and I have a lot more actually outside, but these are a little more of a green color than some of the other ones, and there's like 60 flowers out there, but I didn't want to pick the ones that are already open because they have all these little teeny tiny bugs. I mean, hundreds of tiny, so tiny. These bugs that you pick them and you bring them in the house, you're like, oh my gosh, this is full of bugs. And I feel terrible taking some little creatures' homes. I love bugs. If I see bugs around the house, a fly or a spider or a ladybug, I have a lot of ladybugs, anything, I will give it a little drop of water. I will put a drop of water next to it, and usually they will find the water and drink it. Try that with bugs you find around the house. I mean, I know some people just kill bugs, but I respect them, and I never kill a bug unless I really, really have to. It's a dangerous kind of bug or that kind of thing. And I've been bitten by a tick too, and I would be very, very careful to stay away from ticks if I were you. Anyhow, that's the stories for another time. I do love bugs, and I respect them and their little home. So that's why I didn't take more daffodils, but I have a lot of daffodils. I did go out and videotape some so I could show you how pretty the daffodils are. I just had to show you my amazing daffodils. These are called double daffodils. Double daffs, and they smell so good. These are the more traditional looking daffodils. As you can see, they're that kind with the big trumpet on them, the big snout. I really love physical books, especially ones like this one. It's this giant book. I can't even hardly lift it. It's called Gardener's Encyclopedia of Plants and Flowers. I think it was created in, I think it's a European publication, so some of the names aren't exactly the same. But look at all of these different kinds of Narcissus and daffodils. This one actually looks a lot like the Narcissus that has come up in my yard. It only came up like once or twice, but the daffodils that are a lot like these guys here, the Rip Van Winkles, they come up every year. And all the rest of these different kinds, they're probably not even all the kinds, you know, but daffodils, Narcissus, they surely are a wide range of fellows, a wide range of girls. Because they are bigger than these. These, by the way, and the other ones, most of the other ones I have, are called double daffodils, and I believe they're called Rip Van Winkle daffodils. So they're a little bit more, they're a lot more fuzzy looking than the typical daffodil that has the one trumpet, and I have those too, but that plant only produced like 4 flowers, and I went out today to take a picture, and there are only 2 left. So some creature came and took those, but I took a picture for it so I could show you. So what I found out when I went looking for daffodil fragrances is that they don't consider, apparently no one uses daffodils in fragrance. What they use are Narcissus, which is a daffodil. Basically, all all daffodils are a type of Narcissus, but not all Narcissus are a type of daffodil. And I have a Narcissus in the yard too, but you never know when it's gonna come up. It doesn't come up in bunches. I've only had it show up like twice, over the years. And I am here to tell you that they do not smell the same. They are not the same. Daffodil fragrance is mine are very light, kind of like a cologne. It's like a cologne strength. But a Narcissus is unbelievably big in its fragrance. It's big and flowery and sweet. Was it sweet? I think it was sweet. But I was kind of like really knocked back the first time I smelled a Narcissus. I didn't know what it was. It doesn't really even look like a daffodil. You know, I saw ours coming up in the yard, and I was like, we're like, well, that's interesting. That's a late daffodil. It looks a little like daffodil from afar. And then we were like, well, let's go check it out. And it turns out to be a Narcissus. And they smell really intoxicatingly strong. Unlike daffodils, daffodils are a lot more soft. A lot more like a cologne strength or an eau de toilette strength, where Narcissus is more like a perfume, extrait de parfum. We never used to call him extrait de parfum. It was just parfum back in the day. It was parfum, then below that was eau de parfum. But anyways, so when I went trying to find any fragrances at all that contained daffodil, I couldn't find any. I kept getting information that said Narcissus. Even in fragrances that were called daffodil, like Demeter has a fragrance called daffodil, but it's got Narcissus. It's Narcissus and one other item, I think. I got it for you here in case you want to check it out. My notes. So I was a little confused at first, but now I think I got it after I went and researched a little bit. And what I found out I thought was really interesting. In Perfumery, there are basically two specific types of Narcissus used. Narcissus poeticus, and they use that to make Narcissus absolute. It's called Narcissus absolute. And then there's a second kind, Narcissus Jonquilla, which Jonquilla absolute is made out of. Those two are used in Perfumery for the most part. There might be some somewhere else that is not, that uses a daffodil, but I couldn't find any, and I did try. I even asked my Microsoft Copilot, and if Copilot doesn't have any clue, you know, they're not always 100% right, but I gotta say, I'm really respecting this Microsoft Copilot AI that they just installed. You know, it's pretty neat, a pretty neat thing. I'm really a Mac person for a lot of the work that I do. I do audio work, so I'm a Mac person. I love Mac Logic Pro for audio, but I have another computer that I got recently, and one day I'm like, what is this thing that keeps showing up? Microsoft Copilot. Hi, you know, ask me anything. And I was like, okay. So I just started that, and my husband didn't even know about it yet. It just came on the new computer that I had gotten, and I was blown away. Like, it's kind of like makes you feel like, what's a Google? Who's Google? What's a Google? I hope I don't upset YouTube by saying that, because Google and YouTube are the same company, I believe. But you know, I mean, you can find out a lot of stuff really fast. I'm digressing again. I have a tendency to just go on and on and go off on a tangent. But anyhow, I'm going to return now to the daffodil video. So I did get the names of some fragrances that contain the two different kinds of absolutes, so you can get an idea of the difference. So Narcissus poeticus, for the Narcissus absolute, it's just called Narcissus absolute. Some of those fragrances are Guerlain's Volde de Nuit, Guerlain Volde de Nuit, then Caron Narcisse Noir, Caron Narcisse Noir and Caron Narcisse Blanc. So two different Narcisse fragrances from Caron. And Yardley Narcissus. Now that's likely to be the most affordable of the choices. If you just want to try it, you just want to buy it, you don't want to invest $100 in a perfume. I mean, that's usually my thing too. Like I'm really careful with money. I love to get as much perfume as I can, as many fragrances as I can, but I'm not spending $250 on each bottle. I value a lot of especially the stuff I used to sell in the 80s and 90s, the late 80s to the, well, mid-late 90s. I love all those old fragrances that are still around. I'm collecting those again. I'm not necessarily buying all the new stuff. And I went off on a tangent again. Circling myself back around. Here we go. Okay, so come on. You know it's coming. You know I'm gonna ask you to dance. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. And I did look around for some specific fragrances that claim to only have Narcissus as the one note, and I found Chloe Narcissus Poeticus lists Narcissus only. So, I haven't tried it. Boy, would I love to find that one, but that's probably not one you'll find around a lot of places, So if you're looking for something where you can get the idea of Narcissus, it's probably there. And that is, by the way, so that would be Chloe Narcissus Poeticus after Narcissus Absolute. So, kind of specific. And then the other one was Demeter Daffodil. Daffodil, they call it Daffodil, but it only includes Narcissus. And it says also green notes. They weren't specific, but two things they listed. So, hello, I realized I left out some of this, which was very important. I just told you about fragrances that contain Narcissus Poeticus Absolute. That Narcissus Poeticus is called Narcissus Absolute. That's what they use to create Narcissus Poeticus fragrances. But there's also Narcissus Jonquilla, which creates Jonquilla Absolute, and that is a different Narcissus odor profile. So those fragrances are Chloe Narcisse, which I showed you that I own, Hermes Amazon, and Lancome Climat. So those are two different types of absolutes with different scent profiles, but it seems that mainly it's those two kinds of Narcissus flowers that are used in creating fragrances. There you go. If you want to try some Narcissus fragrances. And I also want to say, this is Chloe Narcisse that we used to sell back in I don't remember if it was the 80s, 90s, but this is pretty strong, and I have to say this does smell a lot like the Narcissus flower. This one's really old. I saved it. And I saved this from when I worked in cosmetics and fragrance in the 80s and 90s, and it still smells good. I recently opened it up to try it. Yeah, I think you might, this gives you a good idea too, I think. Very, very strong. So there are, of course, as you might expect, some meanings from the daffodil. New beginnings, hope, purity and innocence, love and happiness. In Greek mythology, you might have heard this before, Narcissus was a handsome young man. He fell in love with his own reflection in a pond. Some of the gods were worried about him because he wasn't doing anything, but he wasn't eating or drinking or sleeping. He just loved to look at himself in the pond. So some of the gods got worried about him, and they decided to turn him into a daffodil or a narcissus. a flower. So that's the story. And there's more folklore and things like that too, but I think that's probably a long enough video. So thank you for joining me again. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoy flowers, and I enjoy doing videos about how flowers are related to fragrances and in what way. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing, please give it a like, and I hope to see you next time. I'm gonna wheel out of here. Bye.